All right, good morning. You need to get off of here. We're at the 13th of April out here in the orchard. We've been doing some grafting, and I want to give you a review of a product that I have bought. This stuff right here actually says that it's laboratory parafilm. Laboratory film. It comes in a 2-inch wide roll, 2 inches by 250 feet, and it's actually got a paper backing on it right here, and you can cut it. It's 2 inches wide. Now let me tell you the other stuff. This is the old stuff, this is the buddy film. The buddy film is perforated, and if you pull it right there, it'll pop off. Now this is the parafilm that a lot of people use to wrap their scion wood. Now this stuff here is somewhat cheaper, and but it's 2 inches wide also. Now see, I just cut this with scissors. It's 2 inches wide. Now you can kind of ruffle up the parafilm, and you can pull the paper off of it, okay? Now, I can tell you right now, this stuff here is thicker than buddy tape. The buddy tape is this. This is parafilm. This is made in Japan. It's very expensive in my opinion. It's like $50 for this roll. It works out to be about maybe 5 cents per section, and if you're grafting a valuable tree, it's really not that bad. Now this stuff here is cheaper. It's also not perforated. That means you can get a piece that long off of it if you want to. So I just took it and cut it. Now I'll show you. This stuff is parafilm, that it will stretch, see there, but it is thicker than the buddy tape. Now what we're going to do, so I cut some pieces. Some of them I took the paper off, and some of them I left the paper on. And I'm going to keep them in my grafting box. I don't see carrying this big old heavy thing here around with you. And you won't need it unless you're out there doing it professionally. So I'm going to get some scion wood, and I'm going to try to graft a persimmon tree here. And then I am going to use this thicker version and see what I think of it, you know. So, giving a review on this product, maybe as compared to the regular buddy tape. Also, sometimes if you do a pretty big graft, you might need a 2-inch wide piece of this that's longer. So, not that I'm saying this is better or this is better, but it may be, you may need both of them for depending on what you're doing, okay? I'll be back to you. All right, this is my Japanese persimmon, my good wood, and unfortunately, I did not get busy and get a bunch of scion wood in the winter so that I could have buds that were stored in refrigeration, waiting to jump out. But you can still graft onto wood that, see, we're at April the 13th. So I'm going to get this piece of wood right here, and that's about the same size as the piece that I want to graft to. So there are buds on here. See, here's a bud right here, and so there's a good bud right there. So I have found out that these will bud out, even though they're, I'd say, kind of say dormant buds. So we're going to go over here to this small tree, this small persimmon, American persimmon seedling, and I planted these. So I've already cut. This is an American persimmon. Oh, I got in a hole there. So you see, I've tried to find a piece that's similar in size to it, which is about right there. And I'm going to leave 3 buds. Okay, so I'm going to do probably a whip and tongue graft right here, and I'm going to use this this new parafilm that made for laboratory purposes, and kind of get an idea how it is to work with it. All right, I'm going to try to do a whip and tongue on this right here. This is a dangerous prospect right here because you're going down at your hand. You have to rock it, and I've got my finger, this finger here, resting on my other hand, so it probably would keep it from slipping. So this one here, I'm going to compare the length of it. This is going to be about like this right here. I almost got it with that first cut. I cut it too short. Not too bad. Let me go one more time, get it a little bit longer. All right, now, you see this thing here, about 2/3 up is where I started this one. 2/3 here and 1/3 on top, right here. And I'm going to try to start that one about the same, which would be about right there. And I'm going to try to keep, and see, I've got my thumb on here so that I'm moving my whole hand down. I'm not just pushing with this and trying to control. And I think I've gotten deep enough. Okay, now, the new tape, I laid a piece of it right here. This is the not buddy tape. This is the tape of the laboratory tape. Now I've got one, I've actually just got 2. I've got actually 3 buds, but I'm going to leave it like that. And this is how I use this stuff here. Now it stretches. I went too far. It stretched and the piece broke. Okay, this is somewhat different than the buddy tape, which is a thinner parafilm. So I've got to get used to this, how much it stretches before it breaks. Okay, it's broken. Okay, we'll go back, we'll try again. So I think what I just did, I had already stretched this piece when I was showing it over there, and it's already stretched. Now the buddy tape, they claim that it'll stretch 8 times its length. But this stuff here, it's not fair because I already stretched it over there in the demonstration, and I had already stretched it beyond its limit, and then it broke. Okay, so, okay, no, let me get another piece of this. You can do it. All right, I got another piece here that was not stretched, and I'm starting it. So I'm having, there's a learning curve here about how to use this laboratory buddy tape. And I think, honestly, that the real problem was that I had already pre-stretched it Okay, now I'm going to leave this tag end on here and try to, okay, here we go. Let me get my hand out of the way. And I'm hoping that I have, so I'm going to continue with this tag end here instead of tearing it loose and just, oh, that made me. So I can see right now that there is definitely a learning curve here. Let me get this out of the way. To using this new product. Okay, now let me get another piece. It takes more pressure. Here's a new piece here. I'm going to start down here and try to get going on it. And hopefully I won't, stretching it, hopefully I won't pull this whip and tongue graft that broke. This whip and tongue graft off of the position that I had it in. Okay, I'm gonna get one more piece. That broke. I'm not wanting to jump the gun and say that this is not as good as the buddy tape, but I will tell you that this is harder, a little bit harder to. I won't say harder. I'm saying that it's different. So it's going to take a little bit more, be careful that you don't break it, a little bit more a learning curve to learn this type of parafilm. Okay, go ahead. All right, I have wrapped the tape, the new kind, the laboratory type parafilm. Now I'm going to do another thing here. A lot of people don't do this, but I like to really make sure that I get it tight. And I like to leave the rubber band. Now these are just cheap Walmart rubber bands right here of the appropriate size. Now that puts a pretty good bit of pressure on it. I like to leave a decent tag end like that. And the reason is, I'm going to paint, now I'm a safety-minded guy. I got the parafilm on it, which should seal it up. Now I've got the rubber band holding it together. Now I'm going to use the pruning seal as another layer of protection on this grafted portion. I don't want to use that grafting seal on where the scion is, because it'll cover the buds and they won't receive any light, and I'm guessing that they won't get the signal that they need to break through. So now now I've got a little place right up here where I missed with the parafilm, and I'm going to touch it right there as a way to keep it from drying out right there. And I'm going to, even though I wrapped the parafilm over the end of this scion wood, I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. There we go. So if there's any air getting in there, I would be surprised. All right, that is the, I don't know how much grafting you do. If you do a good bit, I wouldn't be afraid of buying some of that laboratory type parafilm that looks like this. It says ParafilmM Laboratory, and it's 2 inches wide. I've just cut a piece off. It was cheaper than the buddy tape. And if I was doing, say, a piece about that big and needed to get around it, it might be good to be able to pull a piece off a little longer. The buddy tape only is that long before it perforates and it pops through. And now my last thing that I do is put this on here. so that I will be able to quickly spot where I did these grafts and then come check them. Bottom line, I don't think you're going to get bit too bad buying some of this laboratory parafilm in the box that I showed you. This right here, I'll give a little thing on this. This right here, I find that to be a pretty good product. Now they make one, something like this that's in a spray bottle, a spray can. I don't like that because I'm up here trying to spray and I feel like I'm wasting it, and sometimes I miss and sometimes I hit myself with it. You can get, you can do this. This is Garden Rich. It's reasonably priced. I think it was around $10 to $12. And I bet you I could use this for 2 or 3 seasons. You do have to be very careful with your top because you will get some of this gook on your threads. So be very careful with your applicator. All right, this is, I will call this a review of the laboratory parafilm